Did you know that your IQ is more affected by your DNA than the house you grew up in? While your views in politics is more influenced by your environment than your genes. Well, that is the nature versus nurture debate. But what about identical twins with the same DNA and are raised in the same home environment? Their nature and nurture are almost the same, but how did one twin got a heart attack at 35 while the other became an athlete with perfect health? It turns out that there is a third powerful influence in our life called epigenetics. Okay, let's say in the future, if some scientists look at you and your twin's genetic codes, they would say that your DNA is still the same as your twin. If your genetic information is a sentence, then all the letters would be in the exact same order. But what if the letters are in the same order, but the spaces and punctuations are all in different places, completely changing the message of the sentence? The study of this genetic punctuation is called epigenetics, which literally means above genetics. First, you need to understand that the genes in your DNA are expressed when they are read and copied into RNA, which is translated into proteins by structures called ribosomes. This protein determines a cell characteristic and function. Now, this is where epigenetics comes in. They interfere with the transcription or copying of specific genes. The most common way is when DNA or the protein it's wrapped around, called histones, gets labeled with chemical tags. Some of these chemical tags are called the methyl group and have a positive charge. DNA is negatively charged and so they attract each other and coil together. This prevents DNA transcription as DNA is so tightly coiled, transcription factors can't bind, so transcription doesn't occur and genes are not expressed. On the other hand, there are other chemical tags called the acetyl group, which is negatively charged like the DNA, and so they repel each other. This causes the DNA to become loosely coiled and let transcription occur, so genes are expressed. Think of your genome, the DNA, as the hardware of the computer, while the epigenome is like the software which tells the hardware what to do, like an instruction. Just their presence and concentration within the cell makes the difference. Epigenetic changes can also lead to diseases. For example, is when they turn off a gene that makes the tumor-suppressing protein. The body could not produce any tumor-suppressing protein that protects cells from turning cancerous. Thus, you develop cancer. Epigenetic factors are highly affected by the environment. Factors such as diet, chemical exposure, and medication can turn genes on and off. This is why genetically identical twins can grow up to have very different lives. Moreover, epigenetic changes can be passed down the generation. Right now, you're making decisions that are going to affect people who are alive long after you're dead. So yes, please stop doing unhealthy things starting from today.